Nicolás Maduro is in handcuffs and his drug cartel is in ruins. The dictator faces 4 charges, including narco-terrorism and possession of weapons that could be used against the United States. His wife, who was actively involved in criminal activities, is also being charged.
The
charges are substantial and specific, and he will be tried strictly according to U.S. law, combined with the fact that the U.S. administration's pressure on Venezuela is not being lifted. Sanctions on Venezuelan oil will continue so the regime is not financed or influenced by China, Russia, or Iran, whose goal is to destabilize the U.S. On the first day of the trial in Manhattan, New York, Maduro looked terrified, as did his wife. He was brought in wearing prison clothes and headphones so he could hear the charges translated into Spanish. When he realized how serious the charges were, he said he was innocent and felt like a prisoner of war. Someone in the courtroom shouted at him to pay for his crimes.
He's a violent guy, and he's killed millions of people. He's tortured. They have a torture chamber in the middle of Caracas that they were closing up. But he's tortured people and...
The next hearing of the dictator and his wife is scheduled for March 17th. The illegal Marxist regime of self-proclaimed President Maduro in Venezuela has cooperated very closely with China, Iran, and Cuba. These countries' reputation precedes them. Chinese presence in Venezuela in particular has been a cause for concern for the United States for a very practical reason. The presence of Chinese bombers or missiles would mean the Chinese would have potential to directly strike U.S. territory, especially Texas, where about 40% of the U.S.'s oil is located. We also know more and more details about the daring operation carried out by American commandos and other special forces. When the lights went out in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas, the U.S. Army launched its attack. Fighter jets, helicopters, and aircraft carriers were deployed. A simultaneous strike from land, air, and sea.
In downtown Caracas in Venezuela, as nearly 200 of our greatest Americans went downtown in Caracas. Seems those Russian air defenses didn't quite work so well, did they? Downtown Caracas grabbed an indicted individual wanted by American justice in support of law enforcement without a single American killed.
The USA showed its strength by overthrowing a criminal regime and bringing down a drug lord, who was also dictator of Venezuela. The Americans have shown us how to fight the drug trade, especially the organized crime aspect. It doesn't matter whether it is run by a simple criminal or an important politician. This is how this type of crime should be fought. Maduro created a network of connections with cartels and criminals from Colombia and Mexico. He created new drug supply routes to the United States, and his cartel of the Suns operated ruthlessly to maximize profits. Government planes and boats were used to transport the deadly cargo to America. As de facto head of state, he allowed drugs to be shipped from Venezuela to the United States, flooding the streets of the United States with cheap cocaine, as well as fentanyl, which was produced with China and shipped through Venezuela to the United States. So this is very good news for Americans, for American families, and above all for American youth, who lost their lives and health to these drugs. The collapse of Maduro's drug business is a relief above all for ordinary people who are victims of criminal activity. Maduro's family, government officials, and the military have been robbing their citizens for over a decade. Now, things can finally change. After 27 years of waiting for this moment, Venezuela has finally achieved freedom. The world saw what Maduro did to us, what chaos he caused on the continent, that 9 million Venezuelans fled in search of bread. This moment is one of joy for us. Venezuelans living all over the world are celebrating, but those living in Venezuela cannot celebrate yet because the oppressive regime is still hanging on there. Maduro's capture by itself does not mean the end of the Venezuelan regime. His right-hand woman, Delcy Rodriguez, has declared herself the new president of the country. During the night in Caracas, near the Miraflores presidential palace, machine gun fire could be heard. It is difficult to determine exactly what is happening in Venezuela, but chaos still reigns there. Donald Trump said that democratic elections in that country will not take place within the next month. First, the situation there must be brought under control.